Good morning, everybody. I hope this day is going really well for you. Thank you for tuning in to our morning devotional as we read through the biggest story, which is giving us a really nice overview of the story of the entire Bible. Things started out really good in the beginning with God's creation, but then Adam sinned and sin brought chaos into the world, and we read yesterday that Noah found favor and grace in the eyes of the Lord, but that brought a little bit of hope. But even after Noah got off the ark, he sinned and people continued to just be wicked and have wicked lives. And so we finished last week of how everybody got together to do one thing, and that was to build a tower to God. So we're just going to keep reading the story and see some more characters in God's story of human life. Not too long after the whole tower business, God called a man named Abraham to leave his home and go to a new country. Actually, his name was Abram at this point, but everyone remembers him as Abraham. When God called Abraham, he made a lot of big promises. He promised to bless Abraham and to bless everyone who blessed Abraham. He promised to curse everyone who cursed Abraham. He promised Abraham a land and a child. God promised that Abraham would be the father of a great nation and that all nations would be blessed through him. Pretty much all the blessings that God wanted to give Adam and Eve, he promised to Abraham. And the best part, this time God was going to do everything himself to make sure Abraham got his blessing. You might think that God wanted to bless Abraham because he was such a swell guy. But Abraham didn't know God at all when God called him. And even after he got the call and all these promises, Abraham could still be a liar and a bit of a scaredy cat. Abraham's life had a lot of ups and downs, but he had two things going for him. The only two things, it turns out, that really matter: God's promise to bless him and Abraham's belief in God's promise. That's all Abraham had, which was a good deal because it was all he needed. At times, it looked as if God wasn't going to keep his promise to Abraham. For one thing, it was about 100 years before Abraham and his wife Sarah, who used to be called Sarai, had a baby named Isaac, who thankfully was always called Isaac. And then when the baby grew into a boy, God told Abraham to kill him. That must have seemed like a not-so-funny way to make a great nation out of Abraham, but Abraham listened to God anyway. And at the last second, God gave Abraham a ram to sacrifice instead of his beloved son. It was God's way of saying, "I'll take care of the rescuing. Just trust me." Eventually, Isaac grew up, got married, and had some kids of his own. Twins to be exact, Esau and Jacob. God picked Jacob to get the blessing even though he was the younger brother and wasn't supposed to get the blessing. But God is God, so he gets to pick. Jacob had 12 sons, and this time it was the fourth son, Judah, who wound up with the best blessing. Jacob told Judah that a lion of a leader would come from his family. Great blessings, but not so great people. Isaac was sort of a weakling. Jacob was a selfish trickster, and Judah did such dumb stuff we don't even want to talk about it. And yet, again and again, God kept his promises all the time. He blessed the whole lot of them despite themselves. Maybe the snake crusher would still come from the gnarled branches of the Abraham, Isaac, Jacob family tree. That's our story for today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that's a great way to start your day. We pray that God blesses you. We pray that you can hear God where you are today. We pray that you spend time with your family and take time to spend in His Word. We look forward to seeing you once again, whenever that may be. We just ask that you please pray for this virus, that it can be contained, and that our doctors can work on finding a solution to help heal people at this point. We just pray that no more people are infected. Just pray for God to bless those in our churches who are struggling to conduct church without meeting together. But we just all want to be in prayer over a lot of things this week. Thank you very much, and we do hope you have a wonderful day.